All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Laviva Mazhar from Luge Capital. And it's my pleasure to host this next segment where we're going to see really cool presentations from a few different fintech startups that are innovating in the payment space. Before that, just wanted to give a shout out to FSDQ. Really great to see them supporting fintech startups in our ecosystem. They're also one of our investors, so thank you. So without further ado, the way this is going to work is we're going to have 4 startups, 2 that are part of the Luge portfolio and 2 that are members of Fintech Station. And each will have about 5 minutes to talk about their solution. We don't really have a Q&A section for the audience. However, if anybody intrigues you, then feel free to go and find the speakers afterwards, and they'll be available to answer any of your questions. So I'll first invite Cato. He's the founder of Loop Financial, which is a cross-border and global business banking platform.
Good afternoon, everyone. Great to be here with you all. 5 minutes to talk about business banking. We'll make it happen. So to tell you a little bit about myself, I grew up in a very entrepreneurial family. My parents were small business owners, and small business banking was always something that came up as a dinner time conversation. So it was natural that later in life, I wanted to build a business that solved a lot of the pain points and challenges that my parents had growing up. So when we were starting Loop and going out and trying to understand what the landscape looked like, I was actually here about 3.5 years ago in Montreal talking to a clothing retailer here in the city. And when I was talking to them, I went into their office, I sat down with them, I tried to understand what were the things that they were doing in their financial workflows. And I noticed a big stack of checks sitting on the desk. And I went in and they said, why is there a big stack of checks sitting on your desk? Keep in mind, this is like 2022. And their answer is, well, actually, most of our customers are in the United States. And most of these customers can only send us money by check. So they mail the checks to us. We get them every week. We pile them up. And the branch that we work with actually only deposits US checks on a Monday. So we have to pile up our checks. We have to wait till a Monday. And then 2 weeks later, they make the money available to us. So all in all, we're talking about a month to get paid. And as we started to talk to more and more companies, we started to hear about all of these different challenges and pain points that companies had when it came to managing their money. So, getting paid from companies or customers in the United States, paying vendors or employees internationally, managing foreign exchange. You can list out an entire globe of challenges that companies have. And one of the things that we triangulated on was we understood many of these challenges related to managing a business across borders. And the reason for this is that most companies that exist in the world today are actually global companies. Whether they think of themselves in that way or not, our supply chain is so global today. The average company has employees, suppliers, contractors, customers all around the world. But most of the banks that they work with today are still local by default. And that creates a lot of challenges and pain points for businesses. If you're a small company, it often means things like dealing with expensive SWIFT wires and having to go into a bank branch. If you're a big company, it might not mean that, but it does mean going into different banks in different countries in the world to set up local bank relationships, building bespoke software to be able to manage that. And so what we realized at Loop is that there was an opportunity to productize this. So instead of having small companies suffer from a lack of services and big companies suffer from having to spend a lot of time, money, and resources managing their money internationally, we could create a product that helped people and helped companies manage their money all around the world. So that's where Loop comes in. We've built a platform that enables businesses to manage everything, starting with global treasury, which is the actual accounts that you have to be able to receive and send money internationally, managing things like accounts payable and accounts receivable, so companies can more seamlessly send payments globally. So if you're working, for example, with suppliers in Europe or Asia, or you're working with customers in the United States, you can more easily receive and send those payments through our platform. And lastly, foreign exchange, because foreign exchange is a big part of what businesses do, and it's also a significant cost center for a lot of businesses. We've simplified and demystified the foreign exchange process, so many businesses that are managing a global company can do that all through Loop's platform. Today, Loop saves companies an average of $40,000 every single year and 12 hours per week on financial operations. Large companies will often set up entire finance departments or treasury management departments just to be able to manage those bespoke integrations and financial workflows. With Loop's platform, they can effectively manage all of those processes in one single place, reducing the time that it takes for things like getting paid by customers, managing your treasury, managing foreign exchange, and managing global payments. So why are we building Loop? We're building Loop because we believe in a future where businesses will operate globally, where managing your business across different countries and different borders will not be something that is an add-on to a business, but where a company that starts on the very first day of their business will have customers, suppliers, and employees all around the world. Thank you, everyone.
All right, you're gonna have to get used to seeing my face a few times as I invite the rest of the startups. Kareem obviously talked about stablecoins, and it's great to invite Brent from Cybrid to talk about what they're building in this space. So Cybrid is an API-first global payments platform that unifies banking, wallets, and stablecoins so that businesses can launch compliant crypto and fiat payment solutions quickly. And Cybrid is also one of our portfolio companies at Luge.
Hi there. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Brent Carrara, and I'm the CTO and co-founder at Cybrid. And today I'm going to talk about our stablecoin banking as a service platform and how we're revolutionizing digital payments all over the globe. So I'm going to start giving a little bit of background on what's wrong with the legacy system. As most people know, SWIFT has been around for many decades at this point in time, and that's the system that's responsible for moving money all around the world. Takes anywhere from 3 to 5 days for it to land, costs $50, $75 per wire, and there's no transparency whatsoever into where that payment is once you've initiated it. Some fintechs have solved this problem by opening bank accounts all over the world, parking money in those accounts, and essentially simulating global transfers by pulling money in Canada and the US, and then paying out in country to give the illusion that an international transfer has occurred. Now, there's a number of problems with this. One of the main problems is you have to park money all over the world. You've got capital that's tied up. It's not bearing any interest for you. And essentially, because of this, there's a lot of lost revenue that's left on the table. Stablecoins partially solve that problem for us, right? You have USDC, you have USDT issued by both Circle and Tether. Essentially, the way they work is you send them a US dollar, they go buy a treasury for a US dollar, and they give you a digital equivalent to that dollar. But they give it to you on the blockchain that you're able to transfer all over the world in seconds for fractions of a cent in a lot of cases. What we've seen is recent studies show that at least 13% of FIs interviewed are already initiating stablecoin projects, and 50% of those that haven't yet will within the next year. Now, SWIFT carries something like $170 trillion a year, and recent studies show that by 2030, anywhere between 2 and 4 trillion of those dollars will be flowing internationally over stablecoin. So what do we do at Cybrid? So the insight came a number of years ago when we were looking at the crypto rails and we were looking at the traditional rails, and we said, this doesn't make sense. The crypto rails is a much better way of doing things. But at the time, there was no regulation. So we said, let's go build a platform that meets regulation, but it's built on the crypto rails. And that's really what the idea behind Cybrid was. So we have deep integrations into banks, we have deep integrations into blockchain, and now what we have is deep integrations into pay providers all over the world that accept stablecoin. We'll be in over 150 countries in the near future, and essentially we wrap all of that in compliance and a simple API so that we can move money all over the world virtually instantly. We have a large number of partners on our platform already. The main use cases they're looking at are remittance. They're able to send money faster and cheaper. We have B2B marketplaces on our platform as well. There's a large appetite for stablecoins with B2B because they can receive payment very fast, convert it to their local currency to do their normal operations. Their treasury doesn't need to change, because what we find is people want to be on the crypto rails, they want to be in Web3, but there's a transition period that's kind of underway. And then similarly for things like professional and legal services, they want to offer different rails to receive payment and then off-ramp it to their local currency. And then of course you have neobanks, and our API provides global accounts to those neobanks out of the box. So in terms of where we're going, we're going to continue our global expansion over the next few months. We've just recently raised our Series A to do so. We will continue to get regulated and licensed in the different jurisdictions that we're operating in, so that the partners that integrate to us to build out their applications don't have to worry about getting licensed, having a CCO, having a compliance program. At Cybrid, we take care of all that for them. And really where we see this all going is if you integrate to Cybrid, you have a Cybrid account, and you're global on day one, which is extremely powerful. And really the evolution of this is going to be extending that out to agents as well. So you can imagine a future not too distant from now where you have an ERP agent that's able to determine that you're low on inventory, put in an order, and then through Cybrid's APIs, pay for that order. Thank you.
All right. Next, I'd like to invite Charles-André from Ezo. Ezo is one of the startups at Station Fintech. And Ezo is a Canadian all-in-one financial app that integrates centralized and decentralized finance with payments, financial services, and investments.
Can you hear me? Yes. Okay, so today I was mandated to talk more about stablecoin, but I'm going to tell you a bit more about our company first. So my name is Charles. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Station Fintech, for inviting us. Basically, 3 or 4 years ago, I was getting so annoyed by the fact that I had 15 million apps in my phone, payment, investment, banking, crypto. There was too many apps. It's still the case because we don't exist yet. And at some point, I just said, let me redo finance how I would see it. So I took a piece of paper and I redraw, and it came to what we're cooking today. So we wanted to build an app at first, basically for air. For me, I was getting debanked because of crypto. I had problem with money all around. And our product is very more of a convenience and I would say cost-effective game in modern nation. But when we really go into developing nation, that's a revolution, that's a tidal wave. I'll talk about it in the presentation. I've been to Africa about 5 times last year. We're going back very soon. I am basically vaccinated against everything you can find on Earth, by the way. That was a rough week. And it's amazing what we can bring over there. But today, I'm going to talk to you a bit more about stablecoin. So me, stablecoin is what really sold me into crypto. Okay? The fact that I could have an asset that I could send instantly, but there was a guarantee of delivery. I think everybody here has experienced Interact delay or money not being sent a Friday afternoon. With crypto, there was a guarantee the money was going to be in my wallet. So stablecoin, what they are. So in the past, the reason stablecoin were invented, there's actually a sneaky reason for that not a lot of people know, is because back in the day when you were trading against USD, the government didn't like that. So you couldn't trade against USD. So what people did is that they created stablecoin, because if you trade against a token, then you're not technically trading against USD. So in the past, we had Tether. When I started crypto, I have a Bitcoin tattoo. Tether was a 200 market cap. USDC wasn't existing yet. Then you had TrueUSD. You had PAX, which is a USA-born stablecoin, BUSD, and the infamous, do people recognize the infamous one on the top right? No? Well, this is the biggest fail in crypto history. It's called UST. It was an algorithmic stablecoin. That doesn't work. Stablecoin, 1-for-1 back. If you go out of the design, it's not going to work. That thing fell from 60 billion to 60 million, 20 billion to 60 million in about 45 minutes. And I remember because it was the worst day in crypto of all time. And Tether, which is the big boy, was depegging. It's kind of like the currency of Canada crashing in 45 minutes. I remember because me and my friend, we bought 10K of that, and 2 hours later, there was not a single decimal showing on our app because it lost so much value. So right now, the big use case of stablecoin is very payments, I would say a bit, investment, interest, and reward. Reward, that's the new legal word for giving yield on crypto. People, you buy stablecoin, you get a yield on it. That's how people get more money than keeping the money in your bank account. The use case for payment, it is used for, but I don't really believe yet on the cross-border payment argument, because like for me, buying crypto is very cheap, but for most people in that room, it won't be as cheap as me. That's the fact. So if you really buy crypto, you send the crypto and you have to redeem it on the other side, is it really less expensive than using Wise? Not all the time. So in the future, that's how I see stablecoin. So definitely it's going to be a local and global payment system. It's going to be an investment instrument, especially for developing nation. If you have no path to invest, but you have a phone, you can get into the stablecoin game. You can save these stablecoin, you can stake them, you can get a yield. Yes, for us, 4% might not be a lot, but for these people, getting 4% interest per year on their money, it is insane. Trust me on that. And if you take, let's say, without naming a specific country, you take country X, the government gives 7% to the bank. Think about it, 7% rate. You tokenize that into a stablecoin, you just give the population, what, 5% interest per year? That's amazing. That is an insane opportunity. And the biggest, really true use case I really believe in for stablecoin, it's something we're also working on at Ezo, is the liquidity solution for emerging nation. Right now, in emerging nation, cash is a very big problem, okay? We've been to a country where when you go to the bank, you withdraw 15 bucks at the ATM. Guess how much the bank pays for that? 15 bucks, they pay 20, 25, 30 bucks. So they're losing money by letting you withdraw because of the friction of cash, because of handling of that cash. So it is a very big problem. You see that picture that was when we were in Guinea last year? That's how many people have a phone, and that's how many people were bank. Because banks, they are hard to get access to, but they all have a phone. If you do correctly a stablecoin, you work with the government the right way, you can really tap into that financial inclusion. There is not enough time, unfortunately, but it's something we would like to tell you more about. Stablecoin of the future, USDC only, USDT, no. Goodbye.
All right, last but not the least is Marc from Zum Rails, which is an all-in-one platform for payments, card issuance, and KYC.
Hey, so I'm here to talk about fiat payments and how money moves. So I hope you have a good 5 minutes of understanding the atomic level of this stuff. But we're Zum Rails. We are a payments company. I started it 7 years ago. I've been in payments my whole life. Fell accidentally into treasury management. It's as fun as it sounds, but there was a serious problem in payments. Whether it was no one really knows how money moves, no one understands that it's a risk-based vehicle, and that we relied on the government to tell us that real-time payments was going to be a thing. So in my house in Prince Edward Island, I thought I could beat the government and the banks to it, and we did it. So what we did to start was we built a real-time payment gateway using all the rails. So that's EFT, Visa Debit, MasterCard Send, Interact, credit cards, and now recently, prepaid and secure cards. So thanks to the wonderful people at MasterCard, Richard, we are now the only non-FI to be able to issue cards, which means if you want to be a bank light, you can do it on Zum Rails. I'm going to tell you a lot of problems, but one of the problems is that no one really figured out the key to the future of banking is the monetization of financial trust. All the big banks for years and years got to go by because there's a bank on Main Street and you knew your banker. Now the world has changed. People hold essentially their life savings and some of the platforms that the wonderful people before me spoke about, but there's still a problem that you need to be able to transact and buy a loaf of bread every now and then. So by having a secure card or a prepaid card, or you're going to be, your own bank, you can go to the store and you can tap and ride on one of these rails to make it a reality. So what good is money if you can't move it? And that is basically where the journey of Zum Rails kicks off. As you can see, we try and make the complicated simple. And this is where building a Swiss Army knife is impossible to explain in the 2 minutes I have remaining. But long story short, you don't have to do anything except be the distribution channel. If you have the financial trust right now, you can take our API. I can put your face on the card if MasterCard approves it, and that's your logo. And from there, you can distribute it so that people can use the funds that they have on your platform in the real world. We are integrated as a physical card. You can have it as a digital in all the Apple, Samsung, and Google wallets, and it's there to use right now. And there's enough competition in payments for people who are say, hey, you're going to go to the store, try and go to a store and lease them a terminal. But there is a new type of payments in the financial space that I believe was underserved. And by building the payment infrastructure first and understanding the risks, because we have our own KYC, AML, all the stuff that one would require to sleep easy at night when you're moving funds instantly, Zum Rails can allow you to maximize on your financial trust. If you're going to be the distribution channel, we're going to give you all the tools necessary to make as much money as you possibly can outside of your existing client base. It's hard enough to get a new client, but if you want to keep them engaged financially with your services, whether you're competing against the banks, this is the tool that's going to allow you to generate passive income, whether it's just off the interchange rates itself or just the branding value, which is really, really hard to put a price on, which is going to be the next step for someone who has a base of 50,000 clients to be out there in the real world. Essentially, right now we work with a lot of lenders because it's just the low-hanging fruit of the moment. They can do their loans on a secure card, and we essentially are the whole network of a credit card processor. So if you're a lender, you could issue these cards. They can be topped up. It can really work in any instance. This is just use case one. Right now we have use cases in agricultural feed vending suppliers. We have use cases for sports clubs, people getting tip payments at large chain restaurants. The good news is, if they have this thing, the payments are instant. So when we talked about the RPA and we talked about all the wonderful things about how we're going to have instant payments between EFT, my thesis was never that I could build the underlying structure, but there is other ways in which people can get the immediate value of the money they're owed or the money they want. And this is just one of the tools in the toolbox to allow it. You can make it look whatever you want. It's great. I got 30 seconds. You know what I'm talking about. This is the future of payments as far as I'm concerned. If you're a payments company and all you're doing is issuing credit card processing, you're going to be behind me. That's it. Have fun.
Good job. All good. All right, 4 fantastic startups, all innovating in different ways and attacking the massive global payments industry. So that brings to our kind of conclusion of this segment. I just wanted to, say that as at Luge, we're very proud to be supporting the Fintech Forum and this overall Fintech community. And also, we actually just announced today our new investment, which is in a Toronto-based startup called Mycroft, which has built an agentic AI-based security and compliance officer. And so they will actually continuously monitor your cloud infrastructure, keep you secure, and even help you prepare for SOC 2 compliance. So definitely check them out. And if there's any founders that are building fintech startups in the room, definitely come find Kareem, myself, or my team member Rohan, and we'll be here today and tomorrow. Thank you.